There wasn't much left to do, except finishing it. Except everything. Your inner Matt Colville is showing, Mr. Colville. Hey everybody, welcome to the F-Bards Chronicles. This is a bit of a different video because it's not about DMing or a story of a campaign that I have run. This is a video about this, the Illrigger by MCDM. It just came out today and I'm pretty excited about this. By the way, this is not a sponsored video or anything. I'm not being paid. This is just something I was curious about because I know that Matt Colville, I'm a huge fan. I know that he has strong opinions about classes in 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons, and this is his first custom class, so I'm excited to see what happens here. So, right in the beginning, you come across a bit of a scene. This is too... Let me see. Anyway, so there's a whole scene written out here, and it is 2.5 pages long. The characters in this scene seem to be from Matt's world. Like, for instance, there's someone from Orden. There's someone from Axiom, the plane of absolute law. And then there are other people like the world below. There's someone from Arcadia. But reading just the part where it says about the characters seems like this is very specific to Matt's world. That's not true. That is not the case at all. Like, this scene has nothing to do with Matt's world. In fact, I think this scene is very important. If you will indulge me, this is a scene where a bunch of adventurers have gone through a short adventure and now are resting and waiting to go into the next one. And this is a scene that leads up to that. They're waiting in the Tower of something. In the Tower of Enchantment. But none of that is the point of this scene. The point of this scene is actually very important. He's showing how a Hell Knight, basically, the Illriggers are basically Hell Knights, how a Hell Knight, a lawful evil character, can be a part of the party. This is the important part. Someone in the party says, blah blah blah, none of us think you will betray us. We just think. Someone else finishes the sentence, we think you could. Really? And in answer to that, the Illrigger in this scene, Lady Dazran, says, betray you? Ha ha ha, you insects. You see loyalty as the truth of a person. That one, she said, pointing to someone, is loyal to Kaval. Those of you who have read Matt's novels know that Kaval is a saint. That is his loyalty. So that is his character. This one, she points to someone else, serves only skill. That is his loyalty. So that is his character. I carry the seal of Dispater. Thus you feel you know my character. But I have served with you these many weeks, and what I have learned is that you have learned nothing. She put her hand on her sword. You know nothing of loyalty or character. I will fight with you, not against you. I will risk death and worse with you. She's just saying that although I'm lawful evil, I'm a knight from hell, I'm throwing in with you. I carry Dispater's seal, but I serve hell. Hell is my world, as real and vital to me as yours. You see what he did there? That's the part that is explaining and justifying why a lawful evil character is going adventuring with a generally good aligned party. Very important. It can be done. I think there is already a very important lesson to be learned here. Having evil characters in your party is not going to break your game. The only time it's a problem is if you have your game is like an epic romance. Like, imagine the Mighty Nine campaign or Lord of the Rings. Like, it's very difficult to have an evil character in your party in a game like that because there's not a lot of downtime where the evil character can go away, do their eviling, and then come back and join. And during that downtime, the player and the DM can work together to come up how their goals align with the rest of the party again for the next adventure. So unless you have that downtime, I guess it becomes difficult. I've never done it, so my word is not gospel. But it's already an important lesson. So up next, we get into the meat and potatoes of this. What is the Illrigger? Knights from Hell. How cool is that? This is just lore and fluff. So apparently, there's something called the Order of Desolation, which decides that, okay, the propaganda of hell needs to be extended beyond hell to other realms. So they formed the Order of Knights, the Illriggers. That's the origin story. Roleplay-wise, it doesn't really matter which hell lord they're aligned to or who their patron is. Their job is to extend the propaganda of hell. The class feature. I have the class features here. I'm not going to read all of them. It's just pretty standard. If you read it, it will look like it's that of a paladin. But the meat and potatoes is pretty different. Multi-classing, yes, people like to do that. I don't know why. You need a good charisma and strength or dexterity to do that. That's about all there is to be said about that. Right off the bat, you get Forked Tongue. Essentially, it is a slightly nerfed version of a rogue's reliable talent, and where you are like very good at charisma-based checks, like persuasion, deceptions, and things like that. So you can tell where this is going. Like, this is supposed to be someone who is good at political games and negotiations. They're on the side of hell, but that's not the point here. This is a character who's good at negotiations. You also get Infernal Conduit, which is sort of a reskinning of Lay on Hands, but not really. It is based on dice, and it gives you certain abilities that reminds me of Life Transference Spell and the Vampiric Touch, I think, where you draw someone else's health and put it into yourself. This requires some game mechanic thing like attack rolls and saving throws, but the point is, the good point, this is why I like it, you don't have to declare. Like, if you try to do this and you fail, you don't lose your dice, because you have a pool of dice. Like Lay on Hands, you have a pool of hit points. Instead of that, you have a pool of dice. But if you fail to do this, you don't lose dice. So that's good. You can also get some temporary hit points by doing this, and that is always cool. It seems overpowered at the first glance, but if you think about it, it's really not, because temporary hit points don't stack. So you can only benefit from one pool. I gotta say, the art in this book is just fantastic. This is just beautiful. It's very crisp and well done, and it's evocative in the sense that it gets the message across. If you just look at this supplement as like just the art and nothing else, you will know what this is all about. Beginning at 11th level, you can use your Infernal Conduit to give people exhaustion. What? Oh, don't worry, it caps at 3 levels of exhaustion. I think that is brilliant game mechanics balance, because otherwise it could be like, it doesn't matter how strong your big bad evil guy is, the strategy is always send the Illrigger player, and they only need to do their things 6 times before the big bad evil guy dies. So it doesn't matter if they have 1,000 hit points. The Illrigger only needs to land their Infernal Conduit 6 times and they're dead. So good design, good design. Fighting styles. There are new fighting styles. Not the same ones from the player's handbook. These are called Treachery, Bravado, Schemes, and Lies. It's basically, in other words, the Silent Assassin, or the Edgelord. Bravado is if you want to be a swashbuckler. Schemes, meh. Maybe if you want to play a water dancer from Bravos, I don't know. Lies. This fighting style, I'm sure, is just there so that people don't feel this insatiable urge to slap a hexblade onto a paladin. Baleful Interdict. This is the meat and potatoes of this class. You use some seals from your whoever your patron is, and put them on your enemies, and then you can use the seals to do a bunch of different things. This is it. These seals drive pretty much the whole mechanics of the Illrigger class. This is also a little bit like the cleric subclass abilities like Sentinel at Death's Door and Warding Flare. You can do it as many times as your wisdom modifier for the cleric. In this case, you can do it as many times as your charisma modifier. So that's good. You don't need to hoard these. Also, you get them back at every short or long rest. So that's good design. Players will actually want to use this. They will be excited and not be constantly worried that, oh my god, do I need to save these? This is good. Hellsight. I can just imagine Matt sitting at his desk, listening to some State Azure and coming up with these super dramatic headings. So Hellsight is basically Divine Sense with a little bit of a sprinkle of Devil's Sight thrown into it. Pretty good. I would be excited. Diabolic Contract. Once you sign this contract, you are a Knight of Hell. And now you can go and take your party down to Hell and party. Like, a party goes to Hell and parties. Or you can also go to the City of Brass. You're recognized there. Invoke Authority. It gives you certain subclass abilities, but this can only be used once before a long rest, so that's pretty good. Good balance. When I was reading some of the things that you can do with it, I was like, whoa, that's super powerful. And then I realized it can only be done once per long rest, so not too bad. Ability score improvement. Pretty standard. Extra attack. the same. Aura of Despair. This gives you basically perma bane to anyone who is within a certain range of you. Really good. Let me tell you, this is really good. This is like the opposite of whatever the Peace Domain Cleric's perma bless thing is. God, that thing is annoying. Summon hell! You summon a bone devil, and they fight for you. Diabolic Contracts. This is it. The subclasses for this, for the Illrigger, is very, very different from each other. The main flavor of this class comes from which subclass you choose. So the first one is called the Painkiller. This, I read it, it's basically if you want a battlefield commander type of guy, because he can use his invoke authorities or one of those powers to give everyone an attack for reaction. It also basically has a variation of an action surge. This character can also use the Force. They can choke people, grapple them. They have some telekinetic abilities which allows them to move people around. Pretty good, really good. You die on my command. This is straight from action-oriented monster design, isn't it? This is straight from that. It's a really cool ability. If one of your allies go to 0 hit points, you can bring them back up to 1. Steel Mind. Your mind is very strong. Your willpower is unbreakable. Pain Devil. This is like a devilish version of a high-level druid's wild shape. Oh, your interdict improves. Or interdict. I don't know how to say it. This is really cool. This is like an equivalent of how your cantrips level up with you. So, really useful. Next up, the Shadowmaster. Let me see if I can focus on the art. It's beautiful. So this is basically if you secretly want to be a rogue. In this case, you're making a deal with Moloch. I don't know where he comes from. Tenets of Shadow. Plans within plans. This is straight from Dune, isn't it? Plans within plans within plans. Create chaos. A good way to describe this is it's like a College of Whispers bard or maybe a mastermind rogue. It's a good class. People who likes to be the edgelord or the man with no name, they can play this. You can teleport, much like a Shadow Monk's ability. This gives you 2-weapon fighting. If you're using daggers or sickles, why just sickles and daggers? Why not scimitar? I don't know, whatever. If you're using those 2 weapons, you can add your modifier to your damage. Only a memory is one of the abilities. I'm going to read this one out. Starting at 9th level, your mastery of Shadow grants you advantage on dexterity stealth checks when taking the hide action. And hide becomes a bonus action for you. The heading for this is only a memory. Evasion. Shadow Killer. I'm guessing you can kill people very fast. Oh, this is cool. Look, you don't have disadvantage if the enemy has mirror image or blur. Invisibility. This is really cool. You also get interdict improvements. I'm not going to go into all of them, but they are really good. I think that's a good mechanic to have, like similar to how your cantrips level up with you. Beautiful art. The last, Architect of Ruin. Oh, you can cast spells. That's really cool. See, this is a partial spellcaster, but it can get all the way up to 6th level spells. That's really good. And the spell progression is also better than Eldritch Knights or Arcane Tricksters or even Paladins. So this is interesting. I'm curious. Oh, in this case, you are with Asmodeus. That's who your patron is. This is really dope. So you can cast a bunch of spells. Oh, so it seems like this part is kind of based on illusion magic, and it seems like one of the abilities allows you to cast illusion spells without any components. Pretty good. I don't know how many DMs actually track spell components, but if you do, that's pretty good. Asmodeus' Blessing. This is very flavorful. It makes Fire Shield a reaction. Really good. 20th level, you gain 3 extra seals, pretty standard, like sorcery points and things like that. These also improve, and then we have the whole Illrigger spell sheet. And there are also some new Illrigger spells, but I think these are mostly because not all the spells in the player's handbook are open license, so that's why these are reflavored and renamed. Oh, you have a stat block for Lady Darzon. Lady Darzon is the one I was talking about in the beginning. Really cool. And then open game license. So that's it, folks. That's the video. I'm excited. I think this is a class that could make amazing bad guys for your campaign as well. So DMs can also pick it up and get some use out of it. This is really good. I've been really curious about what Matt's idea of a subclass or class for 5th edition should be, and I think the general idea is it's a little bit front-loaded. Not too many of the interesting things are locked up behind level 15, so that's really good. I would definitely recommend this for players, but I would also recommend talking to your DM before you do this, because people can argue that this is overpowered. I don't think it is, but if you're not following the rules, don't forget to read the last line of the spell. That's where the trick is. Be careful how you're using the rules before you allow this in your game. So that's about all, folks. This is a really cool product. I wanted to support Matt Colville. I have learned a lot of him, and he has been immensely influential in my life. So that's it. That's the video. Thank you.